Hello from the land of TV. This is King Cool. Welcome to the Toast Reviews. For those of you who don't know how this works, I watch a movie, I put them in the toaster most of the time, and I talk about when my toast is done. But today, we have the world's biggest toaster called the oven. And today we're smack in the middle of Jackie Chan month. Because I have this that I got from Best Buy, and it's got like 8 things in it. One of them I've already seen, one of them I watched last week, and this week we're going to be watching, it's not going to focus on it, Supercop. It's within, here we are, Supercop. Ooh, I'm getting that back in focus. So yay. And today on the show, we have fish sticks. I'm trying to open this without knocking over the camera. Okay, I gotta set the timer. We're gonna go for 10 minutes before I have to flip them, and that we'll probably be done by that point, and I'll cook them for the rest later. Okay, so Supercop is another movie from the sort of mid-90s, as far as like a Jackie Chan thing that got sort of like recut and redubbed for an American release. And I'm actually starting to sort of lose my patience for it, because I'm sort of like, I'd like to see the way these things actually were, and what sort of wasn't considered important enough to include, I suppose. I'm gonna mess with the focus a little. Get in real close on this action. Those are some high definition fish sticks right there. So, okay, Jackie Chan is a police officer, and he has to go undercover to try to do something, and he climbs the ladder of this criminal organization all without hurting anybody. Blah, 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 you know, the plot's sort of barely met. His name in it is Kevin, until they give him the fake name of some other one that sounds a lot more Chinese. He's Kevin Chan, and I'm like, when I saw Master with Cracked Fingers, they called him Jackie, and then they actually just called him Jackie Chan, because it's like, well, Jackie Chan was already famous, I guess, at that point. So it's like, in every movie, he's Jackie Chan, you know. The thing is, so he's sort of dumped in this world without sort of knowing some of the stuff you might want to know. He's basically doing undercover spy work, basically. But the thing is, like, occasionally he goes back to this place and he's like, oh, he has to try to find the village where he grew up, and thank goodness a little boy who's in cahoots with his associates. Like, hey, Uncle I forget his name that he goes by. But Uncle Jackie Chan, come here. Hey, meet your aunt and meet all the other characters that you obviously know, right? So the thing is, like, I think this sort of some of this is sort of funny, but I think there's also a sort of a lack of jeopardy in this opening stuff. He's sort of like, well, Jackie Chan's obviously going to take everyone apart, you know, thump if he has to. But most of it's just him trying to play it cool, and you know, because he helps this guy escape prison. And that's I'm sure there's a million movies where they do that. I was like, I've helped you escape prison. Here's the entrance fee into my crime family. So, you know, this one was kind of disappointing, to be honest. God, what else happened? It really is pretty boring. Like, again, there's only like a handful of action set pieces, but a lot of them, there's one that leads at the end of the second act. Everyone's using guns, and I'm sort of like, this is boring. Like, I don't want to watch people just use guns. Like, this one's rated R, actually. I think just because you just see a little thing of flesh go piff, and watch like blood fly. I think that's enough violence to get it to be R, and at this point that doesn't even faze me. But so there's this humongous gunfight and stuff, and Jackie Chan and his lady friend are trying to not get hit. And she's wearing this vest that she says is full of dynamite. So, I mean, I like things like that because that gives things a different context for certain scenes. Where it's like, look, okay, she can't get shot. She hides behind Jackie. And it's like, hey, I can't get shot. And Jackie basically says, I can't get shot either. You know, it's like, it's not like he's bulletproof. But, so I sort of, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I think there's just too many guns in this movie. At the end of the day, it's too much people just, you know, a shot of someone firing, someone grabbing, I'm falling down, no one knows who I am. With a couple of little, you know, obviously, you know, Jackie Chan is always having a good time, and he's, you know, doing things and having, you know, he's, you know, making everything funny, especially when he's sort of over his head and he's just like, someone's trying to shoot, he's like, you know, and ducks down. At one point, they're in this room full of explosives, and two guys point guns at them, and they hold out grenades, they just pretend they're going to throw it. You know, hey, and she throws it, but the lady didn't hear, he said, pretend, and she actually throws it, and it doesn't make it out the window, it lands inside the room. And he's like, wow! You know, and they all have to jump out into the big explosion. There's one scene that's pretty cool, which is like they have like a grass roofed hut, like not like a hut, but a big structure with a grass roof, and it explodes, and to watch like their grass like churn and burn up as it blows up. It's a really cool shot, but then they reuse it for a different explosion later on. It's like, it's pretty clear this has been chopped up. So yeah, I was pretty much disappointed by this, but I want to point out the climactic fight scene and battle scene is actually pretty friggin' ridiculous, because it takes place on an honest-to-God moving train. Like, okay, you remember, I don't talk about modern movies, but let's just say there's a new modern movie today where it takes place with two people fighting on top of a train. Some of you guys might be able to figure out what movie I'm talking about. At no point during that movie, which came out, you know, basically today, in 2012, did I ever think that the people were actually in jeopardy? Because, one, it's an American production, they don't generally do that. It's the modern era. Well, this was shot in, it was 92? It says 1996, Miramax. I think it was shot in 2 or 3. It's actually Police Story 3, but they call it Supercop in America. If I'd known that, I don't think I have Police Story 1 and 2 in this collection, so. No, I have Project A and Project A2, unless those are also Police Story. What was I saying? So yeah, this fight scene takes place on a train, and you realize that they just shot it by just putting people on a train. There's not really a whole lot in the way of safety structures, or like someone, you know, someone hangs from the ladder from a helicopter, and you see Jackie, so in the bloopers later, you see sort of Jackie just sort of grab it, and then it just takes off, and it's like, he's not even attached to that thing? You know, you see people hanging from a helicopter in like The Matrix, but it's like, okay, you know that those guys are like affixed to each other with crazy glue or something. They're stuck to each other. So that's only about as dangerous as, you know, as anything else could be, when it's like, uh-oh, we have a terrible malfunction of the thing that's trying to keep us all alive. Got a plate ready, although these ain't gonna be done by the time we're done with this. So yeah, this scene, you know, I think it sort of depends on the fact that you gotta remember that a lot of this Hollywood cinema back in the day is just real, and I think we're just used to, in regular Hollywood stuff, there's so much flummery. For instance, like, I'll give up a different example. They did the Lightsaber Choreography Contest 10 recently, and one of my favorite entries was Mercury vs. Silent Bad Nemesis. I'll probably link to it here. And it's pretty rad. But at one point, towards the end, I won't spoil what happens in the fight just yet, but one guy does something, and the guy has to give himself a handicap of a certain type. You'll see it if you watch it. And apparently, that hasn't been gaffed in any real way. He's actually fighting with this handicap. It's not, I could think of like 6 or 7 different ways that they could probably be, well, it's like this, it's that. It's like, no, apparently this was real. And it's like, huh. Now, in that case, I don't think it really elevated anything, because I'm just like, well, you know, it wasn't like that presented any huge safety things. They just were like, well, we just got to be careful. As opposed to, oh, you guys are on top of a train. No, we really were on top of a moving train. It's like, you guys could have been killed. It's almost like, to the point where it's like, God, what are you even thinking? But this is just the that's just their kind of cinema, I guess. I'm gonna get a feeling that maybe by the end of this, I'm gonna be tired of Jackie Chan month. That's why I like themes that allow me to have a more vivid thing, like, you know, film shot in Rhode Island. A theme that is simultaneously very specific and very broad, so I can see a vast variety of movies. I may watch a Jackie Chan movie that isn't on this collection to scramble it up. Nevertheless, we have 30 seconds left of the timer. I'm not going to show me flipping these things. It's not really necessary. I've said pretty much all I need to say. But, you know, we'll be tuning in for part 2 with my spatula. It's not in focus right now. I gotta get used to the focal range of this thing. Maybe I'll try getting a different lens if this would be better for this. Anyway, thank you all for watching. This is King Cool. Drive home safe.